So yeah, hi and welcome to the Office Hours today for Cluster API Provider vSphere. Yeah, we follow the code of conduct, and yeah, I think everyone in here knows that. So yeah, let's maybe kick off. Feel free to add to attendees. Thank you, Nadir, for adding everyone. And I see no agenda items yet. Maybe let's wait some more seconds. Otherwise, Stefan, you could kick it off.
Yep. Yeah, so basically, I should probably flip it around 1 second. So I think the first one's probably, hey, we released CAPV 1.8 last week. So that's done. I think the major features are, it's based on CAPV 1.5. Soft shutdown is implemented, not default, but it's implemented. So you can configure via power off mode. We improved session handling a bit. What else did I put into release notes? I think that's like the major thing. We added a bunch of bug fixes. We have a lot of new automation. But for users, I think that's most of it. Otherwise, feel free to look at the release notes. Yep. I think that's all about the release. And I think I'm just going to leave with the next point, which is basically that we're currently working on 128 support. And 128 support will just come down. I'm pretty sure it just comes down to adding test coverage for 1.28. So the current status that Gong built the OVAs and they're uploaded and already so we have PR open, which updates the README and links to those OVAs somewhere in Google Cloud. And in the same PR, we also modify our end-to-end tests so they actually test with 128. There is one open thing that we depend on, which is basically the cloud provider vSphere with 128. But I was writing with Lubron about it, and it seems like there's some sort of circular dependency. No, so basically, no, not really circular, but it's like we published the OVAs 128. He likes to test the cloud provider 128 with our OVAs and then releases the cloud provider, and then we can use it. But TLDR, I just told him that the OVAs are available. I think in our end-to-end PR, we will just use the 127 cloud provider for now. I think no reason to really wait. Then we would merge that one, and once the cloud provider 128 is out, we just bump it in our end-to-end tests, and then we're good.
Yeah, it's usually been fine.
Yeah, I assume it's fine. It's just that he meant usually he waited with his release for our OVAs. We call it because he wants to verify it if it works together. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything else ongoing worth mentioning? Bigger stuff? Do you want to mention the ONRF stuff, Killian? Or the end-to-end test, just on a very high-level note?
Yeah, I'm doing some restructuring of the end-to-end test folder to make it easier to do, let's say, upgrade tests, because currently all the YAMLs are just dumped into one single folder. So in CAPV, we have main 1.5, 1.4, 1.3, and so on. And then that allows us to cluster couple upgrade from X version to main or between two versions. So pretty much just, yeah, restructuring stuff so that works also in CAPV, so we can do cluster couple upgrade. That may or may not be really important because of trying to deprecate and remove the V1 Alpha 3 and V1 Alpha 4 types. And a big part of that is testing how owner references and other references are upgraded during reconciles. So I've got another PR open for that at the moment. It looks to me like CAPV is pretty good on that so far, but because we don't have an end-to-end test for failure domains, deployment zones, or cluster identity, I haven't tested those properly yet. But yeah, so basically, yeah, just working on a few things for API cleanup and end-to-end test cleanup.
Yep, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's definitely also one thing. I'm not sure if you mentioned it before in office hours, but we opened an issue to get rid of even Alpha 3 and Alpha 4. Finally, I think we now at the 8th or 9th, the 9th minor release already, which was using beta 1. So it's time to get rid of Alpha 3 and Alpha 4. And I think we actually have to, because CAPV 1.6 will drop V1 Alpha 3, which means that our code won't compile anymore because we're embedding V1 Alpha 3 types in our V1 Alpha 3 types. So yeah.
Unless we vendored the entire CAPV v1alpha3 folder.
Yeah, or the parts that we need, which is probably like only a little bit, but we don't really want to do it. We just want to get rid of it.
Yeah. I don't know when, because I didn't do the archaeology, but we haven't been running the upgrade tests in CAPV with v1alpha4 or v1alpha3 for a long time. I don't know when the last time we actually tested v1alpha3 version was, but it's probably quite a while ago. So I think it's fine to get rid of it because it's effectively not supported.
I agree. Yep. Yep, I think that should cover all that stuff. Maybe a note on the CI environment, or try to keep it sorry, try to keep it high level. So basically, I'm in the progress of getting an overview over our VMC environment. I have somewhat control. I'm drawing up first pictures, and then I don't know. We can figure out what we want to do going forward. I mean, the environment probably roughly stays the same, but there is some discussion to be had with SIG testing, just about they don't like it a lot if there are end-to-end tests running via Pro, which are not under their control. But I will take a look at that with Navarone, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, let's say, one effort, just look at the current info that we have and clarify with SIG testing under which circumstance or in which way that's fine. And I see that as a basis to potentially extend our end-to-end testing to more stuff. So I think we had some plans, probably for years, to also test supervisor, to also test GPU stuff. I think those are definitely two big ones. And I think there are also plans which are more already possible, or no, let's say if we just use our current VMC and make some additions or some changes, then we could also cover multi-AC tests for, I guess, multiple compute cluster probably. I have to talk to Sagar. He told me he has an issue somewhere lying around. But my current take is, so multi-AC should be possible with VMC, assuming that we make some changes to the environment. And also node IPAM should be possible. We just have to implement something for it. But yeah, currently just getting an overview, and then it's also a question of priority essentially, and if you have the bandwidth to do something there. Yep, I think that's it from my side about that.
Good. I think that's it for news and updates. If nobody has another topic, I would like to talk about one issue was opened. Just which is migrating the Markdown linter to something else, which we are, yeah, it's coming from this issue actually, which Nadir created some weeks ago. The current state is we use a self-built Markdown lint image, which is hosted, which is A, very old, B, only works for AMD 64. So everyone running ARM Max currently cannot run the Markdown linter. Yeah, and this image is hosted in our own GCP project. We tried to do some, or we collect some information in this issue. There's one solution which would be some linter coming from Fuchsia project from Google. What I did see is this would require us to do lots of changes in the Markdown files to comply. But yeah, would be one way to get rid of, depending on Docker run, to run the linter. The other solution which exists would be use the same linter as before, but there's, from the author of the actual Markdown linter, there's also a CLI. He also provides, or the project also provides a Docker image, but it's hosted on Docker Hub. So I think we won't be able to directly use it in CI because of image pool issues or limits. But what we could do is we could sync it over to our registry and use it from there. Stefan, go ahead.
Yep. Can you go back to the issue
Yes.
and then one up? So the description you have here where you were writing, it's a bit hard. So is that all that you would have to do to get it working?
Yeah, that's basically getting it. It's not installable using go install because that's just a huge repo where it's in.
Yep.
And but yeah, this snippet is enough to get the linter downloaded and installed.
To be honest, that looks easy enough for me. I mean, it wouldn't be like the first time where we have a small shell script or something, just install a specific tool. And if it works, I mean,
Yeah, it's
before I
fair.
have to sync the official image or build another one ourselves or something, that seems okay to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know if you run it in Pro as well? Probably, right? It should be
I
part of the
did-
verify thing, maybe.
You mean the
Oh, yeah, no,
Markdown
we run
linter?
it. We run it. I saw it failing
Yeah.
on PRs.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, I think that's fine. Maybe we need to follow up around it to retry if the get fails. Sorry, okay.
I guess the alternative that I don't see mentioned here, but I didn't check the issue, is that we could just drop this linter if it's difficult to find a good replacement and we're not happy with the current situation. And then what do we lose? I don't think we run a Markdown linter on core cluster API.
We don't.
Which is a problem, I think, because tables and stuff can get unformatted, like we do lose stuff. But I don't know if this linter actually takes care of that right now in CAPV either. I'd need to dive deep, but I would say if it's going to be, because I guess one thing is the installation here, but I think, Christian, you were also saying that this would also require, this future linter would require a lot of changes in Markdown, right?
Yeah, I could give it another look and actually just provide the list of what it would say or want to get fixed, and then we could take it async.
So to be honest, I
and
don't really care
see.
about this linter.
Me neither.
Yeah.
We have our markdowns in core CAPV. We are able to maintain them without a linter since a few years. So I would be also totally fine just drop it. I don't know, any objections, otherwise just maybe just get rid of it. That's it.
Be fair. I give it a try, take a look and see how many findings you would have with that linter here. And maybe if there are still rules in there which we would care about, maybe.
I mean, it's also like, we don't have a lot of markdown files, and if
Yeah.
those formatting rules aren't making like a huge difference, I don't think so.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Another thing, and we have to exclude, but it did catch me on a PR earlier today because I had it like a HTML, which is one thing it doesn't like. It's like a HTML break in line in Markdown.
Yeah, I had to remove all of them in release tasks.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to use it for CAPV's bulk markdowns, at least, because those use a lot of HTML tags because of the way the markdown book works.
Well, what's possible with the other linter is you could, for example, add configuration in the .github directory and exclude certain rules from being run there. But yeah, question if it's worth it.
Yeah, probably like effort, benefit. Not super great. Let's rather focus on stuff that helps us.
Yeah.
Also, the license on the Fuchsia tool is ringing alarm bells after the HashiCorp stuff this week.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I think that was like the final argument that we needed. Couldn't you have started with license? Okay.
Okay. Then.
But thanks, Christian, for trying to figure this out.
Yeah, it just annoyed me that I wasn't able to run it locally in a good way.
That's really annoying.
But yeah, let's go to the next topic, Stefan.
Yeah, I just want to bring up this one. So in my opinion, we should try to get this one merged. I think the PR which like introduced, so I don't know how the behavior was before the PR which introduced some of the code that we're modifying here, but it feels like what we currently have is definitely broken. The only thing I'm missing is like it would be really, really good. Yeah, perfect, Nadir. So just based on what I know about vSphere, it all looks good to me, but unknown unknowns. I don't even know what I might miss.
Sure.
But it sounds
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm
That's
not
all I wanted. Just that Nadir takes a look sooner or later.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on it, but I have seen that problem, so that should be enough. I mean, I'm gonna mostly trust regardless.
No, me as well. It's just like would be like just good to have like a second well-informed opinion. Nothing against Christian and Killian and me.
I'm not sure. I can't say it would be well informed.
Better informed.
I'm happy also to explain that later if someone wants to page me. But that's nothing was broken on the previous PR, but we never actually had this working with multiple clusters, and
Okay.
we just figured that out when we had like a simple storage policy and failure rate domains, and things they started not being to be able to clone.
So you would say the previous PR didn't really broke it more than it already was? It's just that like we continuously move towards something that works.
No, yeah, the other one I think was just fixing when you select data store cluster, which is like a meta object in vSphere, right? So because we never filtered when you ask for a data store, it was returning the data store and the data store cluster. So it was failing. This one, it's not related to that one, but it's kind of an improvement because we are not just relying on the data store cluster anymore, or like getting the data store cluster, but instead we are just getting the data stores from a cluster that we select and checking if they are available for us or not, right? So that's kind of
Yeah, from what I read, it totally made sense to me to do it like that. So, but
yeah, for me as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep, that's all I wanted.
I just need to squash the commits, I guess, right? I'm missing that.
Oh yeah, that would be good. But I
Yeah,
mean, no rush. We'll wait for Nadir's review anyway. But,
Okay, yeah, I will do that anyway today because I'm on PTO tomorrow.
sounds good.
Okay. I think that's it for the topics. No action items listed. So and the way is we usually go over the pull requests and issues again, or
I would definitely go over the PRs and just, I mean, if there's nothing new and we don't want to talk about it, I think that's fine. But
yeah. Just open from top down, or
I think you can click on the open all thing if you want to. If you don't want to do it manually, it's on the right.
let's close that
It's
first.
doable with PRs. With issues, it's a bit annoying.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's still on hold basically, based
Yeah.
on VMC.
Yep. Credentials per vSphere machine.
Yeah, I think the plan, last time we talked about it, was that Nadir wanted to reactivate some stuff that he wanted to write for core copy and then put something on this PR that we don't want to do it, if I'm not mixing this up. Nadir, is that correct?
Yeah.
And just to verify linked clone.
I'm
Yeah.
assigned to this one, I think. I haven't taken
That's
a look
fine.
yet, but I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
No
Basically, we
names
wanted
there.
to merge that with the regular quick start once we did the other stuff there.
That one needs a rebase.
Yeah, let's skip over, I would say.
I
think that the bot
assume.
will take care of it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
assume.
I left a bunch of stuff on this. This is missing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think the proposal is even correct. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also context did not change here in that case, so compared to last meeting. Also no movement here. Yeah, that's the proposal topic, right?
Yeah, we want to do another round of the document first, I think.
Guest info, also no movement here.
Yeah, I think we'll probably just end up closing that one.
Yeah, you were saying that was about, was it also related to Ignition, this V3 stuff? Was it of Ignition to V3?
Yeah, well, so Microsoft is adding support for the semi-standard guest metadata standard that Andrew Cutts developed.
Yep.
And that will cover this basically.
Okay, but that's more like upcoming. Okay, yeah, I was just seeing in Core Capi that there is some work on getting Ignition v3 implemented or something. I don't. Maybe I'm mixing up. Like,
Yeah, that's
what they call that.
that's
But that's probably
so
like
there's
it's
two.
not there yet.
There's user data and then there's host metadata.
Yeah.
So they're
we're
two
talking
different.
about the other one here.
There are two different fields in the guest info from a vSphere perspective.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
that one was the one we talked about. This one is work in progress. I guess.
Just maybe while we're here, does this sound fine in general, the idea? So I think the idea was, in addition to our username password authentication, to support SAML. And if I got it right from LeBron on the issue or something, they already have it working in Cloud Provider vSphere. And he wanted to implement the same here, but I didn't look at it. So just if someone has like high level opinions or something.
I don't, but yeah. Let me ask some people in the beast. Some
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
you would. I'll ask Mayank from VM service. I think he knows more about this token stuff than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, the change looked pretty forward. Instead of password, it's using certificates for creating the session thing.
Instead, isn't that something that we should support additionally? It
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's additional thing. I think it's something that's been used in vCenter 8 for some stuff now. Now that we
Okay.
have like the Envoy
Yeah, but I mean,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. That's the owner reference per request we did talk about. Killian is working on.
Oh yeah, I think
yeah.
that just more or less needs. I don't know, but did I put a hold on that? For CI, you can hold cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to be honest, I think you can. I mean, up to you, but I think you can pretty much approve it. So I'm just changing the default value to use try soft now on main.
Yeah, we came from the discussion when we were taking a look at the CI environment where we did see DHCP leases will hold there for 24 hours, which is not the case anymore. But the try soft method would help freeing the DHCP leases earlier than waiting for the TTL.
One super important thing. So I'm not changing the API default here. Because that would be still a breaking change to the API version. So it's just in the cluster templates, which feels okay to me.
And which OVAs are we testing right now? Is it Ubuntu? Ubuntu or Photon?
Yeah,
Ubuntu 24 and Flatcar.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. One topic that we should talk about soon later is probably, so Gong built a new images for 128. And we uploaded Ubuntu 20 and 22 to the VMC environment. I don't know at which point, or depending on what we want to switch to Ubuntu 22 instead of 20. But yeah, we'll get there.
Right. Skip that. Okay. I wanted to cancel here. Yeah. That's the update for the Kubernetes version, which is basically updating the CI variables here. And there we see Ubuntu 24 and Flatcar.
Yeah. And the current state is basically that we publish Ubuntu 18, 2022, Flatcar, and Photon 3. I would assume at some point, I really don't know, but I assume at some point Photon 5.
Yeah, well, whenever people get around to that. And GPU testing, we should probably just do 2204 for just get a decent kernel revision.
Yeah.
Like
I think at some point we have to, if I got it right, the So if you want to use C groups v2 in a proper way, we should use Ubuntu 22, right? And upstream Kubernetes testing. I'm not sure what the deadline was exactly, but I think they're definitely at the point where they run a lot of stuff against C
deadline is
groups v2.
Container D. Container D will drop secrets v1 at the end of the year, calendar year.
Yeah, so we have switched to later. Okay.
We're still building OVAs for Ubuntu 18.
Yeah, I don't
Are
know.
we?
But
Yeah.
according to that table, at least, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we just did it because it was on the list or in the table.
Okay, because I think Ubuntu 18 is out of service, end of life.
Yeah, we should stop.
Yeah, the 18.4 is should be gone.
I would say let's
It-
leave it here because we already built it, but let's reconsider
for the
going
next time.
Can maybe someone open an issue, just like reconsider the OS images we build and
Yeah,
use for testing? So the headline is enough for now. Just a pointer. Or that, yeah.
Leave it like that.
That's fine. It's fine. You can also just say title says it all.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
add some more context then later
Yep.
on.
Already.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it would provide some context there, just that people know why we're doing this and potentially know how they can profit from it. So essentially, someone from Red Hat brought it up in Core CAPV that in our API packages, we should avoid dependencies on controller runtime, which basically would mean that someone is able to consume Core CAPV APIs without also getting certain controller runtime dependencies, which also means they can use whatever controller runtime version they want as soon as we don't have dependencies there anymore. So goal in Core CAPV is to just get all our v1 beta 1 API packages entirely free of any controller runtime dependencies. And we're replicating the same in CAPV, which TLDR means it should be possible in the future to import CAPV and CAPV APIs without depending on a certain control runtime version. Yeah. Hope that helps someone.
Yep. Sounds good. This was the issue for it. Okay. That's a pretty new one.
Yeah, it's basically about checking sessionability or something, or if it's active in another way, so that it requires less permissions and there's an issue with a description about it.
Yeah, there was the session is active method, which requires some permissions some accounts may not have, and basically this pull request implements a fallback to retrieving the data center instead when the error comes. To fall back to the second method.
I mean, we should review.
Yeah, to be reviewed.
Needs a better title, I guess. Like TKG admin. Like what?
Yeah, I saw that and I was thinking like, oh, TKG. But I mean, TKG is a product, right? So we're not talking about internals here. Yeah, it's
I guess so. For a least privileges account, I think.
Yeah, the issues are a bit better. I think the issue doesn't even mention TKG in any way. It talks more like about what you're saying, an account with not that much permissions, etc. Yeah,
and from security perspective, it totally makes sense to use a lesser privileged account. So
yeah, but we should probably definitely rename.
Yeah.
Only one of them definitely rename.
Okay. This one is something we talked about. And that's a work in progress pull request from Killian. Let's go back to the list. So, and this have been all pull requests. Anything to add to them? We maybe could take a quick look over issues.
So what ordering did we use the last time? I mean, the plan was to do it in some order so that we can repeat it and continue. Forgot.
The sending recently updated is what we did the last time.
So we were looking at the oldest first.
Yeah, so we sort by age.
Yeah. But of
What
course,
was
we
this
didn't write somewhere.
Least
how far we
recently
got.
updated, sorry.
Yeah, and I forgot to note where we got up to.
But that should be fine with least recently updated because
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, fine.
which was terrible. Like we should have done this when we were doing triage and CAPV because we had to keep track of where did we finish, which is and then we did one triage session every 3 months.
Aditya?
Just wanted to mention that I'm new to the CAPV community, so so I don't work mainly for the CAPV. So my background is that I am currently working on the upgrades controller that's downstream for TKG. So the idea is to contribute somewhere, and just wanted to ask if there is a good first issue, because I saw that after some time the label good first issue was not used anymore. So maybe you can point me to some issue which I can, get my hands dirty with.
Yep. I would do the following. I'll go over the issues tomorrow. So I recently created a bunch of issues. I will basically go over them, flag them accordingly, and then ping you afterwards, if that's fine for you.
Yeah, perfect.
Just gives me a bit more time to think about which ones are really there, and also flag a bunch of them.
Thanks.
That's good. A warm hi and welcome.
Thanks for asking. Yeah, and welcome, Maxi.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think everyone needs a quick read first.
So Christian, usually your job is that you just make something up and nobody actually reads the issue.
What do you mean with make something up?
You just give your spontaneous interpretation of what the issue might be about.
Okay, expose Prometheus.
Has this one been covered by the cube state metrics work?
Yes and no, but I think one interesting thing is probably that I think we have the exact same issue for core CAPV. Or something very, very similar to it.
This at least
looks
a bit like that. I mean, some parts like count of workload clusters will be or is available using cube state metrics in core CAPV configuration. Count of paused depends on many objects, but for the core CAPV objects, we have metrics there too.
I think it's mostly about clusters being paused, so that should be enough. I think we don't have to do it for every object that we have.
Yeah, and unreachable clusters depends how this is surfaced. So, but what I know is there's a condition which at the vSphere cluster level, I think, which says, okay, I can reach vCenter at least. So that's a condition which could get exposed there. And I know we have an issue to create a configuration for cube state metrics for CAPV. So I think some of that stuff may get solved by that. That maybe just link that.
Maybe let's basically do the other issue, and then take a closer look at this one and see what the gaps are, and also if that should actually be done in CAPV or in CAPI instead. There's also a CAPI issue linked directly below the issue, top level description.
So I just add that maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, move CAPI end-to-end related tests to one place.
Maybe let's keep it for now until Killian is done, and then let's think about it. I'm not sure.
Is the pattern to always write something in here so it pops off the list for now, or for the next?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. If you want to just assign me to this speculatively, given I'm in the folder, so I might close the issue and roll it up somewhere else or something. But yeah, just you can assign to me and I put on my list.
At this point, I'm not sure if I would want to do this or not. I mean, I definitely don't see a benefit of putting all the core CAPI tests into a single file. That sounds like not a great idea. What could be a maybe good idea is to put them in one package and the CAPI specific one in the other one. But I also don't see a big benefit. I mean, how many tests do we have? 8? 10? It's not like we have 50 or 100.
No. And depending on which files are mint here, lots of are generated, like the templates are all generated, so they should be fine.
I think it's more like the the test.go files where you actually define the test specs and stuff.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, we have 15 to 20, I would say.
Yeah, but some of them are very like, so
Yeah,
we have
sometimes we
cluster
merge
class and the normal quick start is like separate files, separate tests. So there's a lot of consolidation that can be done there. I have a little bit of that in my PR and I'll do some more of it.
Okay. Support to filter vSphere cluster, vSphere deployment by annotation. Filtering by annotation sounds a bit weird in first hand. This should be more a label if you want to filter, right? Yeah.
Do we not have something like that?
Didn't you update the label stuff, Ricardo, recently?
Yeah, that's what I meant. we optimized the way we use the label selector.
Yeah, I'm tempted to close this in favor of just supporting labels.
Yeah, I think we definitely shouldn't use annotation here where label is right thing to do. Yeah, so we have a failure domain selector. It's the label selector used for failure domain selection for the control windows of cluster. But I mean, that issue is from 2021. So I don't know if we had the selector at that time. I think we added it 2023. Yeah. So that was added 2 years after the issue was opened. So it's pretty just nobody get around to closing it.
Okay. Next, improve handling of unreachable vCenter.
So that sounds weird to me because I would have hoped that if we cannot reach the vCenter, we bubble up an error, which ends up with an exponential backoff, which should give us like one reconcile every 16 minutes.
Yep.
I mean, it might be good to test it just by creating a cluster and adding some bad URL and see if that actually works that way or if we handle it badly.
Let's write it that way. Expect controller runtimes. Exponential. Maybe like that. Okay.
Yep.
VMs wouldn't power on when using a storage policy. Okay, looks like reconcile storage policy didn't work in this case, which is why, or did get timeouts and then returned errors maybe. Okay.
Is that Gory Mommy bug fixed?
Nope.
No.
Okay. But that's basically saying it's more a Go Momi bug, which would then be transitively in our side, or a problem on the vSphere server side. Okay, so maybe it's just a matter of this test is weird, right?
No idea.
And I mean, there's a workaround for it to setting this to an empty string.
Which probably means it just doesn't happen, the reconcile storage policy, or?
Yeah, so what I could think of is that our how's it called? Sorry, 1 second. Sphere left in the gamma. In here, we maybe define a storage policy which didn't exist at the user's environment. And so we try to use this storage policy because it's defined in here. And
Yeah, I see. To be honest, I'm slightly surprised if anyone gets those end-to-end tests running on anything which is not our VMC environment. There are so many properties in there. I mean, it probably makes sense that it also works otherwise.
Yeah, we also have to, the way the current dev file is not in line with where VMC environment is either. So I continually get caught with, let's say, the data center is named differently than what the
I'm not sure.
is.
I understand like the logic of the dev file.
To not put your SSH key on the internet, I think, is the idea.
Yeah, but is the idea basically that you're using the dev file and then you modify the dev file locally? But I mean, that's also in Git. So what's the difference?
But it should be in git ignore is the difference, I think.
Okay, but
it's not.
But checking both in then wouldn't make any sense.
maybe to add, so what's in here in the dev file that somehow had good defaults for what was provided some in the Shepherd environment or where I did do tests, but I'm not sure anymore about that.
Okay, yeah, maybe we have to read if and think of that, how useful that is.
Yeah, I think the way I'm running end-to-end tests locally is in general by overwriting with the clustercouple.env file we get from our preparation from our dev tools. So I'm overwriting all of those base environment variables because you have to overwrite like 5 or 6 of them anyway. So yeah, I think we need to come up with a better flow for that, maybe.
Yeah. As for the original bug, I think what we had said is we weren't aware of that Govi Mommy call hanging. We had asked for a support bundle for vCenter and they were unable to give us one. So I don't know if it's might have been just an environmental problem.
I mean, the expected behavior is that, I mean, if you use storage policy to assist, you just get an error and expansion backup, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
okay,
basically the test then fails.
Okay, but I mean, that comes down to splitting this into two issues. One issue is like maybe doing another verification of, hey, if you use a not existing storage policy, does it actually fail? Which would mean, okay, can't reproduce this one. And the other one is basically something like maybe document it better on how to run our end-to-end tests on some environment, which is not our environment. Documenting stuff like that storage policy.
So the documented and the other one would be check.
Trying to reproduce, I would say, on a high level.
Reproduce the issue of setting a storage policy which does not exist.
I mean, what could be interesting is, I don't know if you're setting, I mean, it's really a very, very basic thing, but I assume you're setting some sort of timeouts on those sort of calls, right? So that if for some reason the vCenter becomes unavailable, we're not stuck forever. I would hope so. Because the very places, I think core copy 1 or 2 years ago where we didn't do that.
Yeah, maybe
That
the
could just
that's the topic of weirdly handling the context here everywhere, and maybe for this call, a context with a timeout would be a good thing.
That doesn't help.
Something like that.
Yes and no. Yeah, I mean, on one way, the way we handle context is not great, but just using the context from control runtime won't help us. But
Yeah.
what would help is definitely passing one in with a timeout, which is what you want. Probably.
Yeah, klar, sure.
Or maybe configuring one on Go with Momi, or probably you already do it. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Yep, that was the Go with Momi issue. GPU support. Yeah, I think the point here is currently only the pass-through thing works, if I got it right. But we don't have any end-to-end tests for it. Is that information down here somewhere? Oh, it's J here. Okay. Yeah, basically there are two options here: PCI pass-through, which I think works already, and vGPU, which needs implementation, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's issues probably finances.
Yeah.
If someone picks it up, it happens. Otherwise, it doesn't.
Yeah. What should I write down here?
You can remove the lifecycle state if you just want to make an update.
How is it done? Remove lifecycle.
It's you can copy and paste. It's the top fetch. The bot is there at the top comment on your screen. Okay. Document permissions required for CAPV resources. Is this about permissions on the vSphere side?
I think both sides, like knowing what are the minimum permissions or what the minimum permissions are for the permissions which are at least needed, versus not using the admin account. Yeah. And basically information documented at CAPV possibly to say that there seem to be some downstream documentation from the product side.
I think you can assign to me because this might be something that I have to deal with anyway. Let's say the way we run our CI currently runs with too much privileges, and we want to use a different account with the minimum amount of permissions.
Yeah.
I don't know if that what I will do in VMC makes sense for that case here, but I at least come across it and can take another look.
Yeah. Okay. Add unit tests will get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just that on this one, surely there is some information downstream about how to configure a vCenter.
Yeah, but it's probably it might be a bit more because of for like the CLI does like extra bits and pieces. We saw that with AWS, for instance. There's code. So with the AWS, we have the cluster AWS ADM tool for Kappa, and basically TKG imports that as a library and adds some more stuff that is not strictly needed for Kappa. but it's needed by the UI. It's mostly around the web UI stuff, basically.
Yeah, and from Persona's perspective, it could get maybe scoped down from depending on what you need. Yeah. Add unit tests for get.go. Yeah, unit tests are always good. Stefan, do I remember correctly that there is there an issue somewhere for taking a look at unit tests?
Can you see well, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Songcheng?
That's right.
No. ZHONG. The person who implemented the soft shutdown. Or yeah, his abbreviation is LAO. Yeah, I spelled his name, not his GitHub ID.
It did come up. Yeah, LAOZC.
That should be enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just I think he just write just FYI. I don't know if they will have time, but there might be some people who will have time to just improve our test coverage in general. So that might be.
Yeah, I mean
that is one of the places where they can do it.
This issue was about I would like to add unit tests, which Sagar said, feel free to raise a PR.
Yep. Didn't happen. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I also don't know if it's a good place to add unit tests, but
that file has one function, which is like 15 lines long.
That does sound like a good idea. Okay. Yeah, you can move to the next issue. I'll take a quick look and then I close this one.
Yeah, thought about that too. Reduce end-to-end execution time by allowing Docker to cache. Yeah, sounds like a cool improvement. Execution time reduction is always good. Question is what happens there, and is this maybe already obsolete because we changed things, how we build things?
I would 30 seconds doesn't seem changing off the run of our end-to-end test. I guess the quick start on my setup takes about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
those
still
flags should be made static when you're running when you're working locally.
Isn't there an option to override the LD flags we use?
I'm not sure if
because colon equals. I guess if you just change that to dollar question mark equals, then that will fix it.
Yeah. Probably. But to be honest, I'm not sure if we should spend time on that. I mean, if someone comes up with an idea on how to optimize this, we can take a look. But
just do question equals and document it, and then you're done. And then they can do that when they do it. They can just do LD flags. At the moment, what's happening is LD flags has always been overwritten.
Yeah. But is that all that we need? Otherwise,
probably. It's stuff I've seen in other projects that being able to just statically do the build things fixes it.
I mean, worth a try. Why not?
Yeah, I did hear that would be a small pull request. If you want to pick that up.
Oh yeah, sure. Definitely one if you want. Just take a look.
Okay, 1354.
Okay, CAPV should back up vSphere when listing vSphere sessions. yeah, I think that comes back to the session issues we had, maybe.
I'm not sure. So is the
Yeah,
problem
limit
that
list
we are basically open
permissions.
to create a session and then we do something and that fails, and then on next try we create a new session? Is that what he's describing?
Yes.
Ah,
But I mean, that should not happen before session caching. I mean, might have happened in an earlier version, but
It depends when you store it in a cache, I suppose. If you're only, yeah.
I mean, I don't know where that list where that call is actually failing. So I think that's the log line here, right? Or that was another person. So.
yeah, basically when validate session is missing, that failed. And the question is if this is already fixed or not at the end.
Okay, yeah, but it could be.
Or how this
already
get
fixed.
involved.
Plus the open PR could also improve it.
Which open
I don't know if that's
PR?
The one which, if we can't, if the session active thing fails, then we try it another way. I'm wondering if that is related. I'm guessing a bit, but.
Typing is hard.
You can grab for TKG admin.
This one, right?
Yeah, I'm really not sure if that is related in any way. But I mean, we can reproduce it and see if it still happens.
Yeah.
Once we.
Yeah. Yeah. If we see that getting answered, and it's still an issue, then it's something which may be good to get fixed. Yeah.
Maybe assign it to me, just that I have it on the radar somewhere. I'm just assuming that at some point I'm able to create a, one account for ORMC environment, and then I know which permissions, and then I can just drop this permission and see if I run into this problem or not and close it.
Sounds good.
It's 8, by the way, so I think
yeah,
we can call it a day.
So if you start next time, it would be this issue to take a look at. Okay.
Yep. I mean, we will have a recording, so someone just has to look it up next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at
on YouTube.
upload a recording and yeah.
Oh, by the way, maybe just put it up here on the on the meeting notes, the issue number.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have the least recently updated thing, so it should be fine.
You think that's good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I just take a look that the link is right. So thanks everyone, and see you in 2 weeks.